Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast. I am Mark Givler, joined by Kevin Noon, BuckeyeHuddle.com tandem here. Big news, big news here on Wednesday evening. Tavien St Clair, Bell Fountain, Ohio quarterback, commits to Ohio State, ending the 2025 quarterback race. After a lot of speculation here the last 6 months on who it might be. Would it be Ryan Montgomery? Would it be Tavien St Clair? Would it be Bryce Underwood? Buckeyes land St Clair after a big time push here the last couple of months. Couple of camp performances this week. He's been at 2 Ohio State one-day camps and then the 7-on-7 here. So he's been, again, Tuesday and Wednesday camp performances at Ohio State. He had kind of emerged as their guy here, I think, in the last few weeks since offering him. Ryan Day was able to watch him also at 2 other camps, was able to watch him at the regionals of Elite 11, was able to watch him at the Under Armour camp because his son RJ was participating in those camps. And so they got a great look at Tavien and his incredible development the last 12 months. And again, like I've said a million times before, I cannot remember a quarterback in Ohio from pre-sophomore year to pre-junior year developing the way Tavien St Clair has. It is incredible how much better he has gotten over the last 12 months. I'm talking about his mechanics. I'm talking about his footwork. I'm talking about his decision-making. I'm talking about his consistent accuracy and his body. Kevin, you talked to him today. How much weight has he put on?
Yeah, he said he played last year like 180. He said he's like 216 right now. So 36 pounds, 36 pounds of good weight. This isn't like 36 pounds of Cheetos and Mountain Dew. I mean, he has rocked up. I mean, he really looks like, he's got the look. I mean, he's got the look of somebody who has put in a lot of 5 a.m. weight room sessions. He told us that, they have like a new strength coach at his school at Bell Fountain. And, maybe Ohio State should look into this person because they've done a really good job with Tavien, but a lot of hard work on his effort to get to where he is right now. Very different athlete than what we saw 12 months ago at the 7-on-7 event and during the camp circuit.
Big arm. Like I said, I remind you a little bit of Josh Allen, just big arm. Now he's just a physically imposing kid. He can run a little bit. And he has this confidence that he can put it in the ball anywhere. He can put it in any window. No window is too tight. Really a gunslinger out there. So I am just so impressed with his improvement over the last 12 months. I've been raving about him since the Elite 11 regionals there. I think it was like March, maybe end of February. Just been raving about him the last few months. His improvement, and now Ohio State has landed him. So I think it's a great pickup. Let's before we get into some of the other stuff, let's run the highlights if we have those.
His last year highlights or the fresh ones from today, because we have both sets right here to talk about.
Whatever you'd like to run. If you want to,
let's see what he looked like at the 7-on event, because he was really sharp. We got like a minute 20 there. And if you're listening to us on any of the podcasting channels, be sure to look us up at youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle to see this fresh video of Ohio State's newest commit from the class of 2025.
He's just got this strong base now. It's such an easy throwing motion. It's easy arm strength. He's able to push the ball vertically. He makes a lot of tight window throws down the middle. There's one there for a touchdown in the championship game against Findlay at the Ohio State 7-on-7 on Wednesday. Look at him, looking off the safety there, bullet down the middle. Again, looking. It's just the patience, the processing, the decision making is at a totally different level than what we saw a year ago. Just a tremendous performance at 7-on-7. And again, at 216, and he still looks like, God, he's going to be 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds by the time he fills out all the way. Cause he's still got some room in there to put on another 10 or 15 pounds. Just to me, a special talent. Again, they're always wonky with the ratings. There's always, 3 sites will have a kid really high, 1 won't, or vice versa. There's always kind of an outlier in these rankings. But I will predict that Tavien St Clair will be a consensus top 50 prospect by the time this recruiting process is over. By the time the 2025 class is done, Tavien St Clair will be a consensus top 50 prospect and will have some 5-star, at least some 5-star ratings across the different sites. I can't speak for every site, but there will be sites that have him a 5-star. He'll be a consensus top 50. Kevin, I mean, just you've seen almost as much of him as I have this off season. Were you surprised? I guess when you first saw him, maybe at a camp a couple weeks ago, how surprised were you having not seen him since last summer?
Yeah, I kind of had to make sure that I was looking at the right kid, and this isn't a knock of what I saw of him as as going into his sophomore season. I mean, he's a young kid, and you're looking at a state in Ohio that has two very good 25 quarterbacks with Tavien St Clair and with Ryan Montgomery up at Findlay. And it was going to be a difficult decision for the coaches to kind of figure out who was the right guy. And, Ryan Montgomery looked very good today too, but Tavien just took this huge leap and, kind of surpassed where I had him based with the Ryan Montgomery rankings. I had Montgomery higher going into this camp season. And again, this is not a case of any backsliding on Montgomery's case, but, Tavien was just a different dude. And when I saw him at the Tuesday camp, just unannounced, it was like, something's percolating here. And he goes out and he's running the drills and he's doing the 1-inch drill where you have to throw it over the net, and it looks pretty sharp there. And, throwing it into the net and doing everything else that you're supposed to in the other drills. And I'm just like, this kid's going to mess around and be the 25 quarterback. And he did nothing to hurt himself, obviously, today in the 7-on-7 event. And, he's just what they want. I mean, I think he's just what they want. I mean, he has the big arm. He really has no fear. I mean, they might have to work on a little bit of that. Hey, we're gonna work with you on throwing outside the numbers here a little bit to get everything down. But very exciting time for Ohio State. And of course, I have to mention this. We only talked to him a couple hours ago, and he's like, "Oh, commitment's coming soon." Little did we know. Well, actually, I think we did know it was probably coming in the next 48 hours. Little did we know that we would be doing a reaction piece just a few hours after his quote there. So that story has now, what we would sit there and say has ended its life cycle. Now we're all moving on to Tavien St Clair, the Buckeye.
I think this is cool for recruiting purposes to have the Ohio kid who can be on all, like I'm looking 12 months out when they have the 5-star kids from Florida and Texas and Georgia up on their official visits, and St. Clair being an Ohio kid can now come in on those big visit weekends and really kind of lead this class. And I think he will. I think he'll be that type of kid now that he's in the fold. So I think there's some benefit here to that. But I mean, here's the thing, and I've kind of predicted this on the board the last few days that this was going to happen, and that by doing this, you're not only not going to take Ryan Montgomery now, but you're taking yourself voluntarily out of the Bryce Underwood sweepstakes. And Underwood, may be the number one player in the country in 2025. He's certainly one of the best. So was this the right thing? And how should Ohio State fans feel about this as far as hey, you're in the top couple schools for Bryce Underwood, but now you're basically taking yourself out of that.
What is it they say about a bird in hand is worth two in the bush? And I think there are going to be the star chasers that are going to look and say, well, Bryce Underwood is already a 5-star, so vis-a-vis Ohio State should go and get him. Well, he's a 5-star who is behind enemy lines in the state of Michigan, while you have a kid who certainly has the possibility of ending the cycle as a 5-star. You really want to have that focal point in your recruiting class, generally a quarterback, to help with recruiting. I know Jonte Gilbert has been in the class for quite some time now. I'm still skeptical that he ends up signing with Ohio State. With the hat tip to the Armstrong twins, generally your quarterback is going to be your most visible vocal guy for those types of situations of, okay, well, we're going to make sure our quarterback is here. No, and he's here. He's just in Bellefonte. It's not like he's hundreds or thousands of miles away. Ohio State didn't have to get him to transfer to a high school, Dylan Raiola, or anything like that. We may talk about that at a later date. So why wouldn't you take the guy there? Because here's the thing. St. Clair is going to continue to explode, and Alabama had offered, and other offers were coming in, and there's certainly, if you F around, you're going to find out sometimes and that's very true in recruiting. So don't F around and let him and Ryan Montgomery slide elsewhere for a kid that you have no guaranteed shot of landing in Bryce Underwood, as good as he may be. And I think that when it's all said and done, we're not going to know what the right decision was for several years until these kids have their careers, and that we can sit there and put them on an equal playing field and say, all right, well, this was the right move and that was the wrong move. So I think it was very much the right move. And the people that are going to grouse about it, they're entitled to that. But I also think the people are going to grouse about it, if they weren't going to grouse about that, would grouse about something else.
That's probably right. I know, like I said, I've defended this on the board the last week or two because I could kind of see this coming. And I'm like, if this happens the way I think it's going to happen, you are not going to be able to get those other guys. You're not going to be able to take those other guys. They're all going to go their separate ways. But an absolute nightmare scenario is chasing Bryce Underwood the way Urban chased Deshaun Watson, and you've missed out on some opportunities. And in this case, it'd be even worse because you're missing out on two really good in-state quarterbacks who might beat you at a future date to get a kid who may end up at Michigan or may end up even at now Big Ten rival USC in Underwood. And then what do you do? And that's a hard thing to crawl back to a Ryan Montgomery or a Tavien St Clair if you chase Underwood. So I like this move. I think he'll be a top 50 prospect consensus when it's all said and done. I think he's as talented of a quarterback as we've seen in Ohio in quite a few years. Drew Aller I was a big Drew Aller guy, but Drew was a kind of a late developer because he was a focus on he wasn't focused on playing quarterback until kind of sophomore year of high school, really. So Drew was kind of a late developing prospect. So as a sophomore, a guy going into his junior year, I mean, Tavien's one of the best I can remember in Ohio. So it's going to be fascinating to watch him develop the next 2 years. But again, I think Ohio State's doing the right thing here. I think they're getting a great player and a really good class leader. And I think they're, taking any risk out of really making a mess of this. If you try and thread a needle here with something else, you could really make a mess of this. So I like what they did here. I think St. Clair's earned it. I think he's shown a lot of, I think he's shown a high level talent, but high level work ethic. You don't reshape your body the way he's done the last 6 months by not working hard. It's just been incredible to watch. Kind of see him every couple months, and it's like, geez, every couple months it's just almost a different human. So huge commitment for the Buckeyes. 2025 recruiting, I think, is going to start rolling here a little bit. I think 2024 we're about to see a real run out of Ohio State here in 24, but I think even 25, I think we're going to start to see some movement here coming up in the next couple months for sure. So very exciting time if you're an Ohio State fan with the way they're recruiting right now. We've got all your coverage at BuckeyeHuddle.com. And you can also follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com/BuckeyeHuddle and YouTube at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. But appreciate everyone watching and listening, and head over to BuckeyeHuddle.com for more on Tavien's commitment, and we will talk to you soon.